It's time for the Voice of Reason podcast. Here are your hosts, Sean Phillips, Andy Van Beber, and Travis Kirkendall.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your screen. Sean Phillips did not get younger and more attractive. I am joined tonight by our special guest, Henry Linder. We'll talk more about Henry here in a second. Sorry we did not have a broadcast last week. This whole thing called life happened. And Sean is still, I'm not at liberty to really say what's going on, but Sean has had a couple of emergencies come up and he's playing catch up right now. So he will be back with us next week. But for right now, we have Henry Linder. So, sorry, Sean gets tired of that after a while, but Henry Linder, we go to church together, and he is a fine young man who I've known now for, going on about 4 years now. And it's been a minute. Henry tell us a little bit about yourself, your sports background, what you play, and then we'll talk a little bit about your content.
I am the normal kid that loves sports. I eat, sleep, dream sports. That's all I do. I talk about sports. I play sports. And my family gets annoyed of it, but, that's just how I am. So, but...
What do you play? So you're a basketball guy, right?
Yes, sir. I love basketball.
What is your position that you play?
Probably shooting guard, but sometimes I play point guard. So.
Sometimes, yeah. And you play for the Quincy Saints, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been playing for them now?
Let's see. I don't know. It's been a while. 4 years?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I've only had the pleasure of watching you play from on live stream, so I hope to come to watch you guys play. You play with a number of kids from our church and everything, and you guys do some good work. I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah. Kind of.
Well, I'm not going to say. It's kind of like I can give you my playing stats, okay? It goes like this. Here's my playing stats, okay? 1 year, 8th grade, okay?
Okay.
I was in the 30-30 club. We were either up by 30 or we were down by 30 with 30 seconds left to play. That's when I came in. I was what we would call a goon who would, hey, if we need fouls, Van Beber, get in there. Go. Okay, and then when I, clothesline, I probably had like 700 fouls. I had one shot attempt and one miss. Those are my stats. Fouls, 700. So, needless to say, that's my stat line. But no, you guys work good together. It's great watching you guys. One other thing we want to mention about Henry before we get into tonight's show. Tell us a little bit about your channel, and we're going to give him the plug because you probably have more subscribers than we do. So, Henry Got Game. Tell us about Henry Got Game, or Henry's Got Game.
Well, Henry's Got Game, I started, my mom actually had the idea. It was after my basketball season, and I was needing something else to do than just practice basketball because... Yes. I need more basketball in my life. So it was in February, I made this video about Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic supposedly getting a championship. Then my mom shared it and it got 180 views. And I thought I was something viral. I thought I was the next Mr. Beast or whatever.
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, I just thought I was so cool. So then I started making more and more and more and more. And then my main goal with it is just hopefully, just making it kid friendly, because I know there's a lot of bad stuff out there that's just, it's not good. It's not good for kids,
right?
Christians,
Yeah.
So hopefully I could just give good, clean content that hopefully is
good
for God's purpose. So
well, I'll tell you what. There's another thing that we don't have to worry about tonight. I was joking with Henry earlier. I said that I was joking with Henry's mom earlier. I said, well, I can have a podcast where I don't have to worry about anybody swearing tonight. And she did inform me that if you did swear, I had to call her on speed dial. So. But, which usually Sean's here, but, that's what makes my, I guess, show with Sean lively. But let's, the latest episode of Henry's Got Game, we'll watch a little clip of it. It's the greatest setup to watch March Madness. And we're just going to play a little bit. I'm going to play my favorite, what I liked, because I thought this was a classic. So a little bit of Henry's Got Game. Here we go.
More electronics, the better. Now, before you start grabbing all your electronics in your house and sticking it into one room, that's not what I'm trying to tell you to do. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you to do. You need to get your computers, that's not a cell phone. Show me a cell phone. Thank you. Your cell phones, your TVs, and just stick it all into one room. Now, you might be wondering, why in the world do you need so many electronics in one room? Well, not only do you need a TV to watch the games, you also need a phone to text whoever you're talking to while you're watching the games, and you need a computer to keep up with the other games. Step 2, snacks. Now, you need your chips, your candy, and, most importantly, the ice cream. Step 3, have a bat and a pillow. Now, this one's kind of optional because if you sometimes get mad at the refs like me... 3, 2, 1... What? No foul? Are you kidding me? Horrible! Then this is a good way to let your anger out.
God.
But thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Oh my gosh, good stuff right there. Go check him out. Henry's Got Game. I love watching that, and I always look for it. But man, that you do some great content there.
Thank you.
I should have went back. I didn't know how many. Let me go back and look real quick. I didn't know. Do you have a guesstimate of how many videos you've made so far?
Close to 60, right?
Let me see here. Henry's Got Game.
57?
Let me see. By the way, you have 17 more subscribers than 54 videos. 54. And so yes, most of our stuff comes off of our podcast. We don't have too many YouTube video watchers, but yeah. So, and one other thing that Henry and I have in common, I just discovered tonight at church, was we are now both recent converts to Fortnite. Am I correct in saying that you are?
No.
Yeah. So
I'm so bad.
Oh my gosh. So
I'm trash.
How long have you been playing? Couple months, 2-3 months.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I think
so. 3 weeks ago, I broke down. I've been fighting Fortnite for years. Okay, and I haven't gotten into this whole. And so finally, I got my son. I got Bryson. It's like, okay, give me the ins and the outs, and show me how to do it and. So now I am neck deep in Fortnite, and it's very addictive. And you can spend so much money on it. That's what kills me, is the V-Bucks or whatever it is. And look at that. I'm ashamed to say that I've spent a little bit of money on Fortnite stuff. So
yeah.
Don't yes. So, but anyway, no, that's And just for the record, Henry did boot me out of a party the other night, so I just
Oh my goodness, it wasn't me, dude.
okay. We'll,
It
we'll go.
wasn't me.
We'll go with you. We'll go with that. So, but so let's talk. Let's talk some sports. Let's get into some sports stuff here. Let's start with the tournament. Well, let me ask you this: which one do you prefer more, March Madness or regular NBA basketball? Which one do you tend to like or go towards more?
So if you asked me a year ago, I would have said NBA. But the thing is now NBA is kind of, I don't know, it's just, I'm not really liking it as much. So NCAA is kind of like, it's that competitive fire that I love. So I would probably tell you the NCAA tournament.
So do you? I'm curious about this. And this is another one of the reasons why I want to have on younger. First of all, to get some different viewers to come on. But what do you see as the biggest drawback with what do you think's been going on with the NBA? What do you think's the biggest drawback from the NBA right now?
That's a very good question. I would say probably the NBA All-Star Game kind of did it
Oh
to
my
me.
gosh! Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
That
it was kind of like, see, whenever the reason people liked basketball whenever uh Kobe was around and
hmm
MJ was
hmm
around,
hmm
it was because they had that competitive fire even in the NBA All-Star games.
hmm
Now you kind of saw it this year, and it was like,
What is
eh,
the highest scoring NBA All Star game of all time? Wasn't it like two? Both of them were over 200 points or something like that. It
it
was
was 200 to like 190 something.
it was ridiculous. And
Yeah.
I was watching a video the other day on YouTube, and it compared the like what you said. It showed like clips of like MJ and Kobe and Shaq and all these guys playing, and then it would show. I mean, and these guys are getting like in an all-star game. These guys are getting slapped around. They're driving into traffic and all this other stuff, and then they go to they go to this year's, and it's just like last year I watched a little bit, and they had the whole thing with Luca and Trey Young and watching the all that stuff. But I'm not really a fan of the NBA much anymore. We'll get into that more in a second. But right now with the tournament, what's your biggest surprise so far in the tournament this year?
Hmm. Be honest, not as many upsets as I thought.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There was like not one number one seed got knocked out. You could just tell that every single one of them was more veterans in college basketball. So you could tell that they knew what they were getting into, even with the 16 seeds. Like Grambling actually looked pretty good against Purdue. It was just Zach Edey. Please forgive me if I pronounce his name wrong.
hmm
But he just like, nah, I'm winning this. So I mean, you can't stop a 7-foot beast. And then North Carolina, I didn't
Oh
see
God.
that game, but
Yeah.
didn't need to. And then like yeah, you can just tell like this year there's a lot of veterans in college basketball that just they know what they're doing.
And I think it's kind of surprising too that you're getting more guys who are staying for their for their senior year now. It's like I don't know if they're trying to improve their stock in, hey, I want to do, loyalty to the team versus, going to the draft,
Yeah.
but I enjoy seeing that. But I mean, some of the games I thought of course, the Yale beating
Mhm.
Auburn, which I thought was kind of, the biggest surprise, of course, though, was the Oakland and Kentucky game.
Mm, yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is looking bad. This is looking bad by the by for Kentucky for oh gosh, I just lost the
John
coach's name.
Calipari?
John Calipari. John Calipari is, I mean, they've hated him in Lexington for years, and he just get and they and I the stat that they read, the stat that stood out I thought was really bad was they said In the last 5 years, Kentucky has only won one game in the last 5 years in the NCAA tournament. So who do you have picked right now? Who do you like?
That's kind of a confusing question because I have three brackets, and and the reason why is every year I'm like I'm a one bracket dude. If I get it wrong, then I'm
Yeah.
terrible. I don't
Yep.
know anything.
Right.
But that's just me. But I had three brackets because one, I joined a group of friends. Two, I downloaded this other app, so I had to make a bracket. And then three, I did one with the family, which is like you write out on a piece of paper. But the main one I consider is the piece of paper one. So I have Illinois winning that all. Which yeah. But the reason is I like they just have a good veteran team. So I like it. And I don't want UConn to win. So
No.
but
That what I thought was, what was it last year? The Final Four last year was highly entertaining. You had Florida Atlantic University. Those guys made it to the Final Four, which that was the true Cinderella story, making it there. But
classic.
but I was really impressed with last year's Final Four, and I almost don't want to be disappointed this year. But I'm with you. I think Illinois got a great team, but I already know my co-host. I wish you could meet him. Maybe we'll have you on another time where you can meet him. But he's always he always finds something to hate about my teams. Like he hates the Chiefs because he thinks Patrick Mahomes is a gadget quarterback. He hates, and the whole scandal with Illinois right now is whatever Terrence. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But their best player who has all these charges against him and everything.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, this is another question I want to ask you about with these NCAA players. You have Angel, like for the women's side, you have Angel Reese and whatever her name, Floje Johnson or whatever her name is, and then you have your Caitlin Clarks. Do you think, as a younger person, do you think that younger people like yourself look a lot to these old? I mean, to these do you see a lot of people maybe copycatting or trying to imitate these kind of players and their playing styles, or is originality still a thing with basketball players?
That's funny you talk about that because I remember watching this YouTube video because I remember, which I still am, but I was like, I'm going to become an NBA player and I'm going to be the best of all time, which I still think I am, but so I remember watching this video about training. It was about this guy saying, if you want to go to the NBA, you need to find an NBA player and copy what he does. And I was like, why? I mean, and he was like telling you to be a less version of that dude, which doesn't make any sense because if you don't feel comfortable playing, you're trying to be somebody else, then you're going to stink. I'm sorry. But the thing is there's no originality. Like people still they compare each other to other NBA players all the time. Like how many people from high school have been called Kevin Durant?
Right, the next Kevin. Right,
let's totally be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's like, what was it? Monty Bates.
Right.
You know that? Yeah.
Yep.
He's gonna be the next Kevin Durant, and then he had all those problems or whatever, and he's a great basketball player. It's just there's no let the kid be himself. Let him play how he plays. Why do you think we have the Michael Jordans and Luka Doncic's?
So at your level, let me go a step further with this then. So at your level, you're just now starting out. You're in your career, in your playing career, and you're working and everything like this. Do you get a lot of this trash talk? Do you see a lot of the trash talk and a lot of this garbage going on your level yet, or are you at that level yet where you're seeing people do this, or is this more of a like the AAU ball kind of stuff, or is this I mean, is this something that's becoming more common?
So, thanks to the Lord Almighty, I play on a really, really good Christian-based team that plays in a really good Christian-based atmosphere. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't hear a lot of trash talking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I play at, other tournaments or
Right.
just even going to my local YMCA, it's
Right.
just, you hear trash talking, which, is it part of the game? It depends. But, you're going to get trash talking
That
anywhere.
and I think that's the thing that really bothered me. And I coached for a number of years, and it didn't really start. I mean, towards the end, I started seeing just this behavior of, just showing off and talking it to the other people. You don't got me and all this other stuff. And then I see some of the behavior. I mentioned Angel Reese earlier. If some of you those of you who are watching or listening to this week's podcast, go YouTube her. Go YouTube her in the game versus South Carolina 2 weeks ago. And there's just hair pulling and there's shoving and there's just all this. I mean, it's ugly play. And then I watched somebody like Caitlin Clark, who I was talking to my daughter about this earlier. Caitlin Clark has got me interested in women's basketball again. I mean,
Yeah.
What is she? She scored her, what was it, 3,500 points or something the other night, and that was just. And I mean, she's the all-time NCAA, leading player or leading scorer of all time. But I like her work ethic. And you and I tonight were talking about the guy from Oakland and his shooting routine. I mean, that if I'm gonna copy something, these guys are shooting what 500. What were you saying about the guy from Oakland? The guy who I can't even remember his name now, but the guy who was making all the threes the other night. What was his routine? What did you say his shooting routine? Was that you that was saying that, or was that somebody else?
I think that was somebody else.
But
I know Caitlin Clark's. Well, supposedly, I found a YouTube short, so
right.
don't
Right.
put quotation around it. I saw Caitlin Clark's warm up or shooting routine. It's 100 threes, 100 mid rangers, and free throws or something. So
one of Briley's teammates went and watched their last season game at Iowa. They went up there 3 weeks ago, and they said she was there an hour. They were there and they got there an hour before the game, and by the time they had got to their seats, she had already people who were there said she'd already been shooting for 30 minutes, and they said she shot another hour, so she had shot an hour and a half before the game, like you said.
that's wow.
And that's the kind of thing that I like seeing about the game is when people are, it's to me good competition is about, playing, and I like watching this with some of these teams that are, not these showboat teams. I like seeing it, like you said, North Carolina. Even though I can't stand UConn. I mean, those guys are straight up. They go out there and they go out there and they play their game. They go out there, they play
ball.
their game,
Yeah.
and they play. I mean, and I've been an Illini fan for years, and the last time that Illini went to when they played the national championship game against North Carolina, that's been
2005, right?
It was 2005, and
Yeah.
I mean they beat Arizona. They came back they were double deficit against Arizona in the Final Four game, and then they just they self-destructed. But I mean, I love watching. There's been great Illini coaches, and I just like seeing good, solid competition. Don't come out there and play trash ball and all this other stuff. And I think to get into the NBA, I kind of think that's where the NBA is going too, because when I watched it, and this was, and I'll ask you this question too, because Briley asked me this question today on the way home from church. We were talking about NBA, and she said, "Dad, why do they need coaches?" And I thought, well, to coach them. She's like, yeah, but she said there's some teams where the players are older than the coaches, and they don't run set plays. I said, well, they kind of run set plays and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, Do you that? And I think it goes back to which one do you think has more team play? Is it NBA or college basketball? Which one do you see more
No, it's
team?
not even close. It's college.
Right,
It's
because
college.
yeah, these guys are all about just in NBA is all about endorsements. Although I don't know if you have. I mean, what are your now that I guess college players now they can do endorsement deals and stuff like that. Do you think that that's going to have any effect on the game, or hope that it doesn't? But
Mm. See, the thing I like about that is you don't get guaranteed money, so you have to work for your money.
right, right,
So I think college has the upper hand in that. When you talk about NBA, it's a guarantee.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the difference for
Well, I
me.
mean, I was surprised to see like this. So this was the first year that I really started seeing like like Caitlin Clark she's two or three. Angel Reese had two or three different appearances. I saw her on commercials, and then the what they call it, the name likeness and image thing that they have, or name image likeness or whatever it is. It's I don't know. I love basketball. Basketball is one of my favorite sports, but it's not my top favorite sport, but it's up there.
Yeah.
But where I'm at also, we can transition into this with the NFL. What do you think of the last season? What were your highs and lows? What do you think about the NFL this last season?
Um, I mean, it was definitely a different type of season by the star power. Of course, with Taylor Swift, and
God, man, I
I'm not
wish
gonna go.
Sean
No,
was
no,
on.
no, I'm not gonna go there. But
God, I wish Sean was on. Go
but
ahead.
the star power of Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs kind of, they kind of were like the superstars, I guess. And
Hmm.
then you had all the other teams that were like, the underdogs. Like, we all thought the Ravens were going to beat them. Nope.
Right.
We all thought the Bills were going to beat them. Nope. And then at the end, we're all like, we all know the 49ers
Are
are
going to beat them.
definitely
Right.
going to beat them. Nope. And it's kind of like, wow. Which was really impressive for the Kansas City Chiefs on my part.
Do
That's
you,
what I'm saying.
do you
So,
think are they going to be? Do you think that they're going to moving forward? So they're making some pretty impressive moves. Do you think that they've got another a three-peat in them?
um,
I mean, Travis Kelsey's what? He's going to
another
be
three-peat.
so Travis Kelsey's going to be
Tough
30.
question.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey's going to be what? I think he's going to be 34, 33, 34 this year. You know, and Patrick Mahomes isn't a young pup anymore. For a quarterback,
Yeah,
I mean he's
he's
20.
an old guy.
He's old for a quarter. When you think, I hate to say that, I'm 50, but they're saying he's 28 and he's old for a quarterback, and that's
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know, but I mean, I think he's worth them. I mean, 500. What they say, 500 million dollars. So I mean, did the Chiefs get their money's worth there?
Oh, Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, probably.
but I mean,
I mean, yeah,
you,
for the profits coming in.
yeah, and this is
Yeah.
actually something that Sean and I are going to get into next week about how much you think about how much money those guys are bringing in. I mean,
Yeah.
and since they've made their Super Bowl run, and this is what made. Have you ever been to a professional football game before?
No, sir. I
Oh
have
my
never.
gosh, it's an experience, but now it's getting to where nobody can afford it because the last game that I went to, I took Bryson to his first football game. Was Bryson, me, and my brother. For three of us, second row from the top, three tickets, $240 altogether. Not bad. Okay, $80
Not bad.
$80 a ticket. Those same seats. So I was going to buy tickets this year. Those same seats are $300 a ticket now. So for $300, it's like I know I'm sure if I wanted to go watch a Jets game, I could probably
Yeah.
buy a scalp ticket out on the sidewalk for $20 and then walk my way all the way down to the front row and just be right there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's just the and it goes back to what we were saying about NBA and NCAA. I mean, it's kind of like the quality of the product is really it's getting better. I am also. I will say this too. I'm a Chiefs fan, but I'm also a closet Bears fan. Okay,
Mm.
and we have a kid in our youth group who's a huge Steelers fan, and we were. I said to him last week at church last week. I said, "You're welcome." And he's like, "For what?" I said, "Sending you damaged goods in the form of Justin Fields." And he's like, "Oh, we'll make him better." And I said, "I know you will because Chicago is good at ruining quarterbacks." And
Yeah.
but you look at some of these other guys. Do you think like your Tom Brady's and your Aaron Rodgers? Do you think those guys held on too long? That they played too long, or they're playing? Aaron Rodgers now is set to come back for the Jets one more year, I guess. Is that
I mean, that kind of depends with personal reasons. Like, if you have, like, I mean, Tua had 2 concussions. What was
yeah?
it, 2 seasons ago?
Yes,
I
yes,
mean, if that was me, I would have been like, give me my money, I'm out of the
right,
league. Like,
right,
I'm done.
right.
But, Tom Brady's more of a stay in the pocket type of dude. Let me chuck it 100 yards and let me get a touchdown.
Hmm.
So, I mean, he's not going to necessarily, I mean, he's going to get sacked, but he's not the type of guy that's going to get hurt that often. Is that
Hmm.
fair to say?
Right. He's very
Okay.
durable. Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
durable. I
But
think.
if it's,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No.
Um, but if we're talking about like family issues or money issues or something, which money
Hmm.
issues is not going to be a problem with
Right.
them. But if we're going to talk about those type of issues, then maybe they did need to leave early or something. But
Well,
but
you mentioned Tua. So yeah, I
mm-hmm.
mean, and Tua had a great year this year. I thought Tua had a great year
Yeah,
this year. He
really
had a
good year.
monster year. I do think that when they went to play Chiefs in that wild card, I mean that was truly against them playing in sub-zero temperatures, and I thought that was you know, but when I look at Aaron Rodgers, and so Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers, so he's in the second year of his, I believe it was $75 million contract that he signed with the Jets, and
That
within
was a lot.
the what was it, the first or second play of the Jets game, they have him come out and he tears his Achilles, you
That's
know, and
that's
so
upsetting.
yeah, and I know, and I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he was, I believe he was, I think he started. I don't know if I was still in college or not, but
Mm-hmm.
he's played for longer than a lot of. I mean, some of the some guys have in the league of are not even old enough to know when he was around when he was, when he started playing. So, but I don't want to discourage anybody from playing, but like I said, there's I was just looking up here how long so he's set, yeah. So there's some guys, okay, so he's 17 years, not as long as I, but he's 17
Yeah.
years. So 17
Yeah.
years in the league. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, the next thing I wanted to get to, and we're talking about move on over to the MLB. And this, yeah, I know, right? So Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese machine, the
Mm-hmm.
Japanese wonder, signed a deal, 10 years, $700 million, giving him the largest deal in MLB history. And then it comes out this week that he has a gambling, I guess, is it safe to say, a gambling problem? I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I,
Now,
what,
is it that the interpreter just said that, or is that like for real?
well, from what I understand, Shohei Ohtani was the whole thing. Oh, I was typing this up here. I want to make sure I got the the facts right. But he basically owed money to people who he gambled with, and this whole thing is with his interpreter though. It was and they say that it's just now starting for him. But like I said, the season's supposed to, actually the season's supposed to start this week, and the MLB is just now starting to look into this. But what was it? It said, I was trying to see what he was, how much he was in for. But he was caught up with his interpreter, which by now I think he would kind of know how to, know how to speak English. But his whole thing was that he didn't, his interpreter got him into this, and he actually, and I believe he fired his interpreter last week.
Yeah.
It was okay, so here it is. It was $4.5 million in wire transfers set from Otani's bank account to a bookmaking operation, which is illegal. We had back in my generation, we had a baseball player named Pete Rose who was banned from the game for betting, and right now, Otani basically said that it was to cover his interpreter's gambling debt. And so the investigation is, well, they want to make sure that Otani's not gambling, and that it was the bank statement had his name on it, and it was to a sports book. So, this is something that I think could be. It's not a good look for him, and it's not a good look for the Dodgers, and it's definitely, especially after, $700 million. $700 million. I can't even begin to wrap. Again, that's baseball, but I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on that. But one other thing. So a couple of things I want to do before we're done today. So I ask the younger generation this all the time, and I need to hear from you. You, Henry Linder, the expert.
I'm the expert?
Yeah. MJ or LeBron? Who do you go with?
Oh!
So I got to hear it.
Whoa!
I got to hear it. MJ or LeBron? Who do you go with? Who do you think? Who do you think? What's the GOAT argument with you?
So we have two different players here. I know a lot of people don't agree with me in that, but you could see whenever you think about the 80s, like Michael Jordan's, not 80s and 90s, you think of Michael Jordan.
Right.
And Michael Jordan, he was a scrappy defender, a mid-range nice shooter. He had 8 threes one game, so he's not a bad shooter. Mm-hmm. And then he was, he could dunk and he could finish really well. He played against the bad boy Pistons that were really rough. And then you have LeBron, who's playing in not as aggressive time of era. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about the GOAT. I think it's a rough call because if we're talking about who's more skilled, it may be all around might be LeBron. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about one-on-one, it might be MJ. And that's kind of where I'm at.
You've brought up a lot of those are great points there, because whenever I ask this, and this has always been the debate, because people will say, okay, first thing you said right there, 2 different generations of ball players. Way
different.
Yeah, and we mentioned that about the All-Star game. When you look at the All-Star game, when you look at the level of competition, when those guys fouled, when you watch some of the clips from basketball games back in the 90s and the 80s, when those guys fouled, they fouled dirty. It was just clotheslines and hacks and just going after them. And when I watch these fights today, it almost looks like sissy slap fights, But the fight that always stays, and 2 of my favorite players, I love MJ. MJ is my favorite player, but I love Shaq and Charles Barkley. I love what NBA on TNT does. I love what their dynamic is that they do over there. But when those guys, that's the infamous fist fight, that I remember when Shaq and Chuck got into it. But that
was when Charles was on Houston, right?
Charles was. What was it? I think that was. It may have been Phoenix.
Was
I'm
it
not
Phoenix?
It's either Phoenix. It might have been the 76ers too. I don't know, but
Okay.
that was just. And you look at those guys back then, and those guys, like you said earlier when we were talking about the NBA All-Star game, competitive. Those guys wanted to win, and those guys did everything to win. And I think it's just generational because I look back and I see, I know a whole bunch of great players, and I look at players today, and people's like, well, MJ, Michael had, he had the argument that I can't stand is when people say, well, he had all stars surrounding him and everything. I was like, no, not really.
Who?
Michael Jordan. Did I say Jackson? God, Michael Jordan. Wait a minute. I got a noise for that. There it is. Okay. Yes, Michael Jordan. So. But Michael Jordan had himself surrounded with, they said, well, Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and all these guys. And I was like, yeah, Jordan kind of made those guys, But, and the other thing is LeBron is well traveled, and I think if he doesn't do it this year, I'm beginning, because he's getting, talk about being old for the game. He's getting, he's getting to be the quote unquote old guy for the game. So, which leads us to our last segment tonight. And so I mentioned TNT, and I love Inside the NBA. And so we're going to do a variation of that tonight. Henry, we're going to end up playing Who He Play For. Okay?
No!
Okay, so,
No!
but I'm gonna go easy on you. You should know most.
Wait, hold on. One sport. What sport?
Basketball. Okay?
Okay. I
Who
got
he
a
play
chance
for?
at least.
Okay. Who he play for? I'm gonna give you some soft tosses here. This will
Okay, that's better.
All right. So obviously I'll start with Kyrie Irving.
Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. Wait a minute here. Okay. Luka Doncic.
Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. Kevin Durant.
Phoenix Suns.
Okay. Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell. Oh. Alright, we're good. Okay. Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow.
I don't know why it took me so long to say that.
Domantas Sabonis. Who does Sabonis play for?
Oh, he's on my fantasy league. He's on the Kings.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rudy Gobert.
Ooh, the Timberwolves.
Oh. Wow. Anthony Davis. That's easy.
Lakers.
And James Harden.
Clippers.
Okay. Now.
Is that round one?
That was round one. Round two.
Okay, I was going to say.
Round two. Round two is my generation. Okay.
Oh!
So I'll give you some soft toss, and then I'll make it a little bit more difficult as we go along. Of course, Michael Jordan.
Chicago Bulls.
Larry Bird.
Celtics.
Magic Johnson.
Lakers.
Okay. Other than the Chicago Bulls, who else did Dennis Rodman play for?
So he actually played for the Pistons and the Spurs.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
He played for the Rockets and I don't know the other team. He played for the Rockets.
He played for the Rockets. Okay, now's where it gets interesting. Gary Payton.
Oh, that's easy. The Sonics.
Wow! Man!
That's an awesome team. I love that
Oh my goodness. This kid. Oh my goodness. Okay, now the next one. How many teams can you name that Shaq played for?
Lakers, Celtics, Phoenix Suns, Miami Heat, Los Angeles Lakers.
And?
Did I say Celtics?
Yep, there's one more.
Orlando Magic? Did I say that?
Oh
Okay,
my goodness!
Okay.
Oh my goodness! Oh, jeez. Henry Linder, everyone. Wow. You had both my 100% on both lists. That
A plus. I'll take
that's
that.
A plus. That's good stuff. So, one more time, tell us about your website or your series. It's called Henry's Got Game. And how often do you put out content?
It's not considered a job for me, because if it was considered a job for me, then my content would. But I try to at least post one once every week. But I can't automatically guarantee it's going to be once every week, because there's this thing called life. But
That's exactly right. Tell them.
I'll try my best to do one a week.
Well, Henry, it has been a pleasure having you on the show tonight.
It's been awesome.
We hope to have you on again soon. Join us next week. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll catch you all next week on The Voice of Reason.
Thank you for listening to the Voice of Reason podcast. Be sure to check out our other content on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.